I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Monday, August 19th, 2024, on this day of the goddess, day of the moon, and Manny's day. It is the 29th of Leo, the 15th of Hazel, the 29th of Salmon, and the 23rd of Hayanir, which is the haymaking month. It is also full moon time. So, some few of the names you might encounter for the August full moon is Holly Moon, Corn Moon, Moon of Encirclement. It's a good time to focus on your goals and involving health and wellness, what sacrifices need to be made, because there's a lot of opportunity cost with every decision we make in life. So just being aware of that and going into it with that understanding, that actually does set you up to be more likely to follow through with your intentions and do what you need to do. Then also doing spell work with familiars if you happen to have them. I mean, some of our pets are familiars, others are not. I don't really think any of mine are. They like to sometimes lend their input into my magical workings, but none of them are really fully committed and involved. So if you don't actually have a familiar, don't feel you are not a lesser witch. Some correspondences for the August moon is yellow, red, and orange for colors. Then for some plants, rosemary, basil, catnip. For your crystals, tiger's eye, carnelian, red agate. And of course, do not forget the element of fire, which of course, depending upon where you are and whether or not you're getting the pretty temperate summer weather or you're getting the really roasting summer weather, you are probably more than aware of that glowing orb of fire in the sky. I'm sure you're feeling the effects of it. But when I think about the themes for the August full moon, the words gathering and gratitude really come to my mind. Finding common ground, building community, counting your blessings. At this stage, this is the full and really the final manifestation of summer. It's all about completing work, reaping rewards, making creative use of your resources, and fostering an appreciation for the like-minded. So there's a lot of things you can play around with this particular full moon. Now let's look a little bit deeper into today's astrology. The sun is in Leo, fixed fire, representing achievement. The moon is in second quarter Aquarius, fixed air, representing rebellion. And then here's where we get our curveball. At 1:26 p.m. Central Time, the moon goes void, of course, and that's also the exact moment it goes into full totality as the full moon. So it's going to remain void until 5:52 p.m. Central Time, where it enters third quarter Pisces, which is a mutable water sign representing dreaming. So unless you're planning to do a morning or very early afternoon full moon ritual, you should probably plan on having some of that Piscean energy infused into your ritual and maybe make any adjustments necessary for that. Mercury is retrograding in Leo, fixed fire, representing fragile relationships. Venus is in Virgo, mutable earth, representing perfectionism. Mars is in Gemini, mutable air, representing to be pugnacious. Jupiter is in Gemini, mutable air, representing questing. Saturn is retrograding in Pisces, mutable water, which is to redefine dreams. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed earth, which is renovation. Neptune is retrograding in Pisces, mutable water, which represents spiritual awakening. And Pluto is retrograding in Aquarius, fixed air, which means that we need to examine intentions. And then a few more usual grace notes on the retrogrades. For Mercury, it's all about reevaluating communication patterns. For Saturn, reclaim your authority. Neptune, reclaim faith, joy, magic, and imagination. For Pluto, reclaim your ability to regenerate. And for Chiron, restore the heroic spirit. So for the moon phase, of course, it is going to be full today, and that means it is the time of manifestation and transformation in great, big, magical workings. So, please do yourself a favor. Don't try to attempt anything during the void moon. One of the very first things that we learn is that void moons means that all of your magical intentions really isn't going to be taking effect. Again, do your full moon ritual this morning or wait until this evening. And then for the Pisces moon, which we do have later this afternoon and in the evening, the do's for it are charity, poetry, and meditation. And the don'ts are over socializing, not a complete abandonment of society, but just not over socializing, particularly with people who you might not necessarily like. Also, another don't is too much rationality. Pisces doesn't like that. Pisces is much more floaty and intuitive. And I dreamed it, therefore it must be so. That's much more in line with Pisces. And then, of course, also forming unwise connections, something to avoid, really at any time, but especially during a Pisces moon. So again, as a reminder, the full moon occurs just as the moon goes void, of course, which is, again, an irritating state of affairs. And again, if you are planning to do your ritual for this evening, just remember that the moon by that point will be in Pisces, and tailor that working to reflect the natural flow of that energy. You can still combine it with a little bit more of the, kind of earthy, let's get this done energy that the moon in general will represent for this time of year. It's just also incorporate a bit of the dreams, a bit of the intentions, and especially the dream for, what happens next, either in next season or through the winter when you're resting, or what you are wanting to put into force once we swing back again to planting time next year. Our tarot for the day is the Four of Wands. The number 4 represents stability. The suit of Wands represents the emotional masculine, projective energy, fire element, and the will. And the keywords for the card are festivities, completed works, victorious celebrations, marriage, jubilation, freedom. And when you look at the figures of the card, they're under this, 4-poster of canopy with ribbons and flowers and all of this wonderful things. It looks a lot like, matrimony to me, and people coming together for the best possible reasons to celebrate. So for today, if you're watching this, you're probably not getting married. If you're getting married, I sincerely hope you are focusing upon your wedding today. But it is about focus on what you can celebrate. Take a break from all the madness of the world. Fall back in love with life. I know it's important to stay informed about the news. I do too. But sometimes you do need to allow yourself permission to say, I'm just not looking at it today. I can come back to this tomorrow. This is still going to be the crazy, crazy. If there's anything really, really life altering major that happens, that information will find its way to you. But you don't have to seek out every nitty gritty detail of things that are going wrong every single day. So today I'm just seeing this card as a little bit of encouragement to say, you know what, go focus your mind on something else. You'll be in a much better position, to fight for your vision of what the world should be if you are not constantly demoralizing yourself and running down your spirit and everything else. You do need to take time to recharge your batteries, and I think today is as good a day as any to do that. Now, today's Celtic Triad, it reads, 3 things fitting for one when they are at home: their mate lying with them, their cushion in their chair, and their harp in tune. So, of course, one should be a comfort for their spouse and vice versa. That's really what marriage means. And of course, when you are at home, that should be a place of comfort and understanding, as well as a more vigorous activity, shall we say, between yourself and your spouse. And then regarding, the cushion and the chair, these small everyday comforts that just make everything feel right. They really are priceless, whether it's, your favorite chair, or you're using your favorite mug while you read a book that, maybe you've read 1,000 times, but you just love it and it makes you feel good, or just things being organized, things being tidied, everything being in its right place. That's not only good for the house in general, but it helps renew your spirit, which is so important these days. And then with the harp being in tune, wholesome music, entertainment, that really is a refreshment of the spirit. And especially if you are a musical yourself and you're able to actually create music and play it, there's just something that's nice and something that's better. Even if, you don't have a great degree of skill, there's just something really meaningful about being able to make your own music, and you don't always have to, turn on Spotify or YouTube or anything else and have other people's work performed for you. You can create yourself. So a pretty uplifting triad for today. And today's magical correspondences are focused upon dream work because it is Monday after all. And of course, with the full moon and everything else, we are essentially putting our dreams into action. And in order to find that next step, of course, sometimes we need to access our dreams a little bit better. So for this, you might make use of the color lavender, the plant, the lilac, this time of year. Unless you have a reblooming lilac, hopefully you will have saved some blossoms and dried them so that you could incorporate them into some spell work, or finding a lilac tea. It's rare, but I have seen it, and you could drink that. Also, for the animal, a lizard, specifically for controlling dreams. To make use of this correspondence, you would probably need to make contact with that animal spirit. And then, of course, for the crystal, the amethyst. Amethysts have always been associated with dreams and sleep and a lot of other good things, so maybe slip it under your pillow tonight. And just to remind everyone, your dreams really are the only means your unconscious, wordless mind is able to communicate with your conscious self. So even the times where the dreams are very disjointed and you wake up and you just think, okay, my unconscious mind is rearranging its files in whatever order makes sense to it at that level. And that's why I had these very weird dreams. But even so, if you make note of, what it is that's getting shuffled around, how you felt about it, recording these things, making notes of them, looking back at it, and observing how things are progressing over a period of time, that in and of itself can form a message, even if, one individual dream isn't necessarily telling you the whole story. Sometimes a developing pattern will let you know what's going on, in the part of your mind that just doesn't have words to tell you. Now for today's practice, cleanse and bless the bathroom, especially if you're wanting to take a purification bath or a purification shower before you do your full moon ritual tonight. Just get the bathroom in as good of order as what it possibly can be. Then today's Hermetic principle is the principle of correspondence. This is as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. We say it all the time during our rituals, but taking the time to just stop and think about that and really reflect upon how both the visible and the non-visible aspects of the world, that inner and the outer, the small scale and the grand scale, these things are always mirroring and reflecting each other. Understanding the one informs you about the other, and making use of that as you are kind of going about whatever it is that you are needing to analyze and try to figure out in your practice. And if there's always something, because once we connect one dot, there's another new dot that appears that we're trying to figure out where that fits in with the grander scheme of things. So there's always something that this principle can be applied to. And then for the witch's pyramid, it is the west wall. The west wall is linked with the element of water, and of course that is tied in with emotions, and of course also very intensely feminine energy. So it's just as well that we have a full moon and it's on a Monday, and this is also the time when we're looking at the most feminine, one of the most feminine aspects of the witch's pyramid. We have a lot of that very emotional, dreamy energy in the air, especially since tonight that full moon will be in Pisces. That's another mutable water sign. We're just getting absolutely inundated with all of this water element energy, the emotional energy, and also, honestly, also intuitive energy. Pay very close attention to your intuition today, no matter what it is that you're doing, because everything is just colliding for you to get very loud impressions from it. Another thing we might do is read about home remedies for common ailments. I know this isn't always popular in certain corporate quarters who think that we should just confine our healing methods to that which comes out of laboratories. However, there is a reason why common, folk remedies exist and why they work. And they're usually a bit easier to get a hold of sometimes. And with inflation and things being difficult to afford, and sometimes there are shortages depending upon where you are, it's just good to have some alternatives for the little stuff that you can actually reasonably handle at home. And so studying about that, because we are in the midst of allergy season, we are about to go into the normal cold and flu season, and just kind of refreshing your memory about things that you can do. It lets you know what you need to have on hand, and in case someone in the household falls ill, or if you fall ill, just it's a good part of preparation. And another thing you might do today is to take a cleansing bath or a cleansing shower with an herbal sachet. And I would recommend tailoring what herbs you put into that sachet based upon what you're wanting to do with tonight's full moon. So I'd look up some correspondences if you need to for that. And lastly, for today, the journaling prompt. What do you need to clear out before the end of Mercury retrograde? The retrogrades are always an opportunity for us to reassess what has already taken place and decide what still belongs in our lives and what does not. And sometimes this is quite literal. You open a closet and you're like, okay, I've not been looking forward to this task, but it has to be done. And you empty it out and you make some decisions about what should stay, what should go, what you need to keep, but it probably didn't belong in that closet to begin with, what you forgot you had and you're very thankful for, what you forgot you had and you can't imagine why it's still there. Getting that sorted out in the most literal sense, that can create an astonishing amount of peace in the household. But it's not just in the literal sense that we could do this, looking at our spiritual lives. What is the state of our emotional landscape? Not everything that overwhelms our feelings necessarily needs to be there. Sometimes it's because the thing with emotions is that they, by definition, they cannot be reasoned with. That is not how they function. But sometimes you do need to put them onto mute because they're not necessarily helping you. Sometimes our emotions can become just this whirlpool that's sucking us down to the bottom of the emotional ocean. And that's not really fixing anything. It's just ensuring that we stay stuck in one place. So learning to break free from that, that could be a task that we take on during the Mercury retrograde. So be creative, use your imagination, think about how this might be best applied to your circumstances and your own psyche, and just take it from there. And that will do it for today. Have an absolutely fantastic Monday. I hope your full moon rituals are very successful today. If you would care to, you can follow me at Blackbird's Brew on X, and the Blackbird Grimoire channel is available on both YouTube and Rumble. And if you'd like to chat with a few like-minded practitioners, please feel free to join the Oak and Elder Witchery on Gilded, link in the description box. But I think that will do it for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.